There's a few reasons that Omaha was a tough place to be on June 6, 1944. When the men of the 1st Division and the 29th Division came ashore, it was a low tide. They had to cover almost after the landings. There were still German troops firing from some of the bunkers on Omaha Beach. This was a very, very tough fight.
By dawn on June 6th, thousands of paratroopers and glider troops were already on the ground behind enemy lines, securing bridges and exit roads. The amphibious invasions began at 6:30 a.m. The British and Canadians overcame light opposition sword, as did the Americans at Utah Beach. U.S. forces faced heavy resistance at Omaha, where there were over 2,000 American casualties. By day's end, approximately 156,000 Allied troops had success. Less than a week later, on June 11th, the beaches were fully secured, and over 326,000 troops, more than 50,000 vehicles, and some 100,000 tons of equipment had landed at Normandy. For their part, the Germans...
The Normandy American Cemetery is located at Omaha Beach and includes the burials of over 9,000 Americans killed in the Normandy campaign. Every American should at some point visit that place. Do you think the French are unfriendly or don't like Americans if you've never visited the Normandy American Cemetery? As Scott said, the Normandy campaign was a tough brawl. In those hedgerows, the Americans overran the Cotentin Peninsula, while the worst fighting centered around the city of Caen. There, the Germans threw in 3 as the Allies took over France and Belgium that would be connected to England and pump in that huge amount of fuel that they needed. So where German armored troops, the Panzer troops, relied on trucks and trains to deliver their fuel, the Allied troops had their fuel pumped underneath the English Channel through pipelines, much more secure and safer to get to the troops that are storming in. As the troops are coming ashore, what they hope to see is a barrage of rockets coming from landing craft that are flanking them. But each landing craft does have some weaponry on board, usually a couple of machine guns that can give you some sort of direct fire support. Then there was those specialized craft that again would be able to get in closer. Some had artillery guns mounted right on them that could fire point blank at the German defense. The weaponry that the troops are carrying is similar in many ways. The troops on both sides obviously have rifles. Some are semi-automatic, some are bolt-action rifles. Both sides had different kinds of submachine guns, but the Germans had some of the best light machine guns or medium machine guns available at the time. Allied soldiers would often describe the MP-42 as the sound of linen being ripped. It didn't sound like a machine gun, it was just a constant ripping of noise. And as you can see, machine guns fire up 1,200 rounds a minute. So when the landing craft ramps drop, hopefully the machine gunner that was supposed to cover your part of the beach has been taken out by the Navy, the Air Force, or your own machine gunners on your landing craft. Because they can form an incredible amount of fire, and all of your buddies in your platoon have got to get through that ramp and get ashore. The Germans also have mortars well dug in. They've been practicing firing on the beaches, so for their artillery and mortars, these are all recorded targets. Where the Allied navies have to get in on a moving ship and try to provide fire support, the Germans have an advantage. They have stationary field artillery that can pound those beaches. They've also got anti-tank gun setup, so if any vehicles try to get ashore, they can hammer them into flanks as they try to approach the exit roads that'll take you up. Of course, the exit roads are blocked with concrete barricades, more landmines, and they're covered by even more anti-tank guns. Trying to knock out some of these positions, the Allied troops have their Bangalore torpedoes, take out barbed wire. They do have bazookas, trying to take out strong points.
To deceive the Germans. In fact, for every bomb dropped at Normandy, 2 were dropped at the village of Pas-de-Calais. There was a whole series of double-cross agents who worked to help the Germans' perception of what was going on and to further the deception. In fact, there was a very famous double agent who was codenamed Garbo. He had 27 agents working under him, and he did his job so well and so convincingly that he was awarded the Iron Cross by the Germans during the war and the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire by the British after the war. The deception continued and was so well planned and carried out that Hitler, Rommel, and every top commander for the Nazis were not even present at Normandy when the invasion actually came on June 6th. And the cracked Panzer Division were not called up when the invasion began, nor had the artillery for the main German cement bunker in the Atlantic Wall arrived.
Well, Scott, it looks like the Rangers are making gaps in the wire with the Bangalore torpedoes. They're getting ready to do that. They've been reinforced by the men of the 29th Division. Some of the British and Canadian troops have come ashore as well. They're not meeting the same kind of resistance, though. They're going to lose men this day, but the Canadian Division is going to advance further than any other force that landed on the beaches and actually make it to their D-Day objective. It also looks like they got a little bit of armor support in the form of a brain gun carrier that's come ashore with them. Hopefully the Americans can get some heavy armor on the beach as well.
I think this might be them. Yeah, it is, because Daniel just got off. That off this boat, right there, that freaking fucking boat. Looks like the Germans are laying down mortar fire. That's supposed to be providing some cover for the troops on the beach.
getting in 100 feet quickly, a little bit faster than the landing craft can. It's just a bit of a jump to drop off to the side of the Amtrak or the trucks as they come in.
Until after this B-25 runs over top. But just as a way to put things into perspective, every time you hear the pop of a rifle being fired today, someone spent $1.10 of their own money to bring this reenactment to you today. All these reenactors that are out here from each of the different divisions and companies, every single one of them, from the drivers of the boats and the planes, have volunteered their time and done this of their own expense. The cost of the uniforms, a helmet can cost upwards of a couple $100 if it's in bad shape. So it gives you a real good idea of how much these folks have invested so that we have an opportunity to see this reenactment, not to glorify war, but rather to never forget.
That's why, folks, if you get a chance today, throw a buck or two in the buckets as they come around. Buy a souvenir program or commemorative coins so you can remember this event. And this event grows every year, it gets bigger and bigger. And that's on this event, ladies and gentlemen, there's almost 1,000 reenactors, whether they're pilots or driving a tank or operating a landing craft. And there's almost 300 volunteers who are not reenactors who put in a ton of work to put on this event every year. On that T-51 overhead. It looks like a half-track gotten ashore and a Sherman tank. You can make it past all those German obstacles and be able to support the infantry. Of course, the Germans have laid a couple of million mines along the French coast. Anti-tank ditches, hedgehogs, dragon teeth. Great job getting men ashore fast and safe. Now they just got to get up to the German defenses.
they can start knocking the German pillboxes around. And that's Thunderbolt. Brought to us by the Allen County Historical Society. This is going to be a vicious infantry fight. As those men came ashore, they're carrying up to 100 pounds of equipment. Rifle ammunition, extra ammunition for the Browning automatics, rifle, hand grenade, bazooka round. Once you make it ashore, though, you get rid of your life preserver.
forces from the United States, Britain, and Canada. The combined force on June 6, 1944 was the largest and most extensive war assault in the history of the world. There were 5 beach landing areas. At Omaha Beach, the U.S. B Corps was assigned to the area. Omaha linked the British and the U.S. beaches between the peninsula of Manhattan and the flat plain in front of the village of Cayenne. Landing at this location was difficult because it was the most fortified of all the beaches. There was nearly a 300-yard death trap of a beach, and then the cliff, a sheer 170 feet of white chalk cliffs. They had to cross that area while being assaulted by everything the Germans could hit them with. Utah Beach was the U.S. 7 Corps. Disembarked at that location, putting them within 60 kilometers of Cherbourg, France. Flat terrain made for an easier advance, but as the Corps moved northward, they were met with flooded areas and rough terrain blocking their way. Juno Beach was attacked by the 3rd Canadian Division. They landed there with the objective to cross the beach and make inroads to the village of Courcelles-sur-Mer. But the division was blocked from advancing by a wide stream. A German tank had become lost in the deep stream, but in spite of the obstacles, the troops nearly met their objective on that day of reaching the airfield west of Cayenne. At Gold Beach, it was the 50th Northumbrian Division of the British Second Army leading the assault. The division had several crucial objectives. One was to put in place a Mulberry, to advance inward and to seize the junction at the village of Bayeux, and to make contact with the American forces and the Canadian forces both. At Sword Beach, it was the 3rd British Infantry Division that did the landing with the objective of advancing as far inland as the village of Cayenne and linking up with British airborne troops. The Germans didn't give up without a fight. The battle against the 21st Panzer and later the 12th SS Panzer divisions would rage 4 weeks. The British had finally taken it down not until late June.
Nice to see the Armored Corps supplying some support here now. There's a couple of Ranger battalions that come ashore. There's some Royal Marines that are on the shore now. And the obstacles that were supposed to cut all the landing craft are now being used by the American troops. American troops have overran one of the forward German pillboxes. Men of the 1st Division are coming ashore.
stand by all their equipment, their uniforms are soft and wet and coming ashore. Every step up to the beach is excruciating. Chatter, folks. Sounds like most of the troops are ashore. Now they gotta get heavy equipment, and it looks like there's a landing ship tank out there ready to bring in heavy armor. Get more tanks in here so they can push off the beach and get into the hedgerows of Normandy.
Okay, got it. Yeah, it's behind us.
Tanks are going to have no trouble knocking around some of these six defenses. Once they get inland, further into France, they're going to run into the German panzers. The Sherman was a great tank. The Germans have massive Tiger tanks. Heavily armored monsters, heavily outgunned the little Sherman.
You can see through the fog of war here that the Allied troops are amassing for an onslaught on the final German positions. You'll want to keep your eyes peeled on that German machine gun nest as the Allied forces take it out. I understand that the folks who are reenacting actually drew lots to see who would be the last one to go.
And Scott, they're firing at sort of a deliberate rate. Can you imagine the panic rate of fire that was coming from both sides of the actual beach back in 1944? It would have been absolutely deafening.
What you're witnessing now is the final acts of a very desperate German defense.
Fight in Normandy and a great deal of experience fighting on the Eastern Front in massive battles against the Soviets.
As we get close to the end of this battle, reenactment, the just like to remind you all that compliments of the Operation Homefront. As you go to leave the park today, as you go to board the buses, pick up your free microwave popcorn. It's a gift to you from the Operation Homefront.
Keep in mind, too, folks, you can support them at put the buckets as they come around. You can buy a souvenir program or get a reference coin or t-shirt. DJ Connie and Dawn, the 60th anniversary next August here on the bluff above the Connie Beach.
Quickly coming to a conclusion, and it would not be right for us not to take a moment here and thank a vet. It is because of veterans and their service that we are able to stand here freely today and remember. So I wonder if you could just put your hands together for all the veterans that stand in our midst today. Folks, I wonder if we too might just take a moment and let's thank these reenactors, nearly 1,000 reenactors who brought this to us today.
We've had a bit of fun today. We've blown off an awful lot of the ammunition. But this is what we'd like you to do at this time. Please stand. Doff your cap, if you will. And what we're commemorating here is an actual battle. And there are World War II veterans in our midst. So what we're going to ask you to do is just stand for a moment of silence. And now, ladies and gentlemen, give a rip-roaring round of applause for all the hard work. We'll just remind everybody to stay off the battlefield. We got a bit of cleaning up to do here before the beach gets turned back to the nice people of Conneaut. But you're welcome to wander around, ask the reenactors questions, take some photographs, and as we've mentioned a couple times, thank a veteran.